We're talking about cloud, cloud native applications. So huge change, right? Our companies used to believe that, these systems are super secure, can't be compromised. It's not as if the compromises or attacks didn't happen that point in time, but that point in time, we used to have a world where everything was segregated.
So it is navigating in this crazy cybersecurity world. The first thing that we should discuss is education.
Hello, you're watching CIO News on our exclusive interview series, Cybersecurity Leaders, on the topic of Bharat Cyber Suraksha Initiative by Veeam Software. I'm Khushbu Soni, the host for today's session. And a quick introduction to my guest speakers for today's interaction. They both need no introduction, but I'm going to be taking a few seconds to do that. We have Subhasanket Ray, the AVP Cyber Risk at Swiss Ray Shared Services. Sanket has 30 plus years of experience in information security, privacy, and governance. Sanket is a dedicated cyber risk leader and at a large, he has been working constantly to safeguard digital assets for the organizations that he's worked and ensures regulatory compliance and promotes cybersecurity and resilience. Sanket excels in managing risk management, incident response, developing dynamic cybersecurity roadmap. Sanket, thank you so much for joining us today and being part of these podcast dialogues that we have initiated with Veeam. Thank you.
Thank you, Khushbu, for inviting me. That's a great opportunity, and I'm looking forward to share more insights into it.
Fantastic. We're also accompanied by Amol Devanji, the Head System Engineering India and SARC at Veeam Software. Amol has about 23 plus years of experience in technology, evangelization, pre-sales, IT architecture, and business development. Amol has been instrumental in driving technology adoption, complex infrastructure design, and customer relationship management. And as a system engineering leader for India and SARC, he's passionate about driving and interacting with cybersecurity leaders and helping him in their evaluation journey. He's also passionate about quantum computing, big data, cloud technologies, and has been a speaker at various industry forums, sharing his perspective on technology and trends. Thank you, Amol, for joining us today.
Thank you. Pleasure is all mine.
Fantastic. So I wanted to begin with putting across a question to both of you. So Sanket and Amol, if you can tell us, with the remarkable experience in the cybersecurity space that you both hold, if you can tell us about your journey a little bit and what drove you to specialize in this critical space.
Sure, thank you, Khushbu. So, I started my career in network engineering. It was all about, fixing connection problem back then. So then we had a team, security folks, who usually works on malware analysis and, the bandwidth analysis and all those serious stuff. So I was sitting close to them, looking, on the free time what they're working on. And then with the communication that grows, to know about how they work and what all areas they're working on. So that was the first interaction with the security guys back in my career days. So then I started learning the fundamentals within the organization. So I was in a very big shared service company in Mumbai at the time. And learning the fundamentals, I got a very good opportunity within the organization to do hands-on, to capture the flag completions, running the internal security process and all. So I would say this particular field never slips. So there has been like threats which always pops in, and you have to constantly learn and stay ahead of the curve in cybersecurity. So that is really a learning process, and that makes this particular line interesting. So down the line from starting of the career, now 13 plus years, this has been every day is a learning day for me. Now I'm into Swiss Re handling those very critical security projects here, and I would say still I'm learning all the way that I can say the way the world is progressing. There's more to learn and more to explore.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Amol, if you'd like to tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, thanks. And I agree with Sanket. Learning never stops, right? We keep on learning. And a disclaimer first: I am no security expert. However, I have been fortunate enough to see IT evolve, right? I have worked. In fact, my first company was Sun Microsystems. So I worked from the days when Unix used to rule to now, we are talking about, microservices pattern, and we're talking about cloud native applications. So huge change, right? A complete, change in the application architecture, infrastructure architecture, security architecture, everything, right? So I have been witness to it, earlier in my career, while I was never. But if somebody asked me, hey, what about security? I would just say, excuse me, I mean, this is Solaris, super secure, right? I mean, there is no need to really even think about it. And come to think about it, I mean, that there were not really too many questions around security during that point in time. I mean, both at my time and whether it was in Sun Microsystems or Oracle, we always used to believe that these systems are super secure, can't be compromised. It's not as if the compromises or attacks didn't happen that point in time, but that point in time, we used to have a world where everything was segregated. Applications were isolated, and rarely, you could really have access to, multiple systems inside data center. But now world has changed, right? The work boundaries have changed. Last few years, especially after pandemic, has been I would say a security first approach, because people have realized that security can be compromised. There are multiple ways to get inside the data center. Now that there is no longer a work boundary, the attack surface has virtually or exponentially increased a lot, right? And specifically from data protection perspective, the company I represent, Veeam, right? I joined this company 3 years back, and I have seen, even Veeam transform itself. From just being a leader in data protection space, we used to say that data protection is a critical portion of your disaster recovery strategy. Now, it is not only a critical portion or a critical cog for disaster recovery strategy, but also a critical cog in security, because data protection is your last line of defense when it comes to recovery, right? So it's changed a lot. While I am again not a security expert, but I've seen the way data centers and applications have evolved over a period of time, and it's very interesting because as we make things simpler for people to consume, obviously things will change. There will be lot of vulnerabilities which will get generated in that due course of action. So yeah, it's an interesting time, and I would say that there is lot to be done, and there is lot going to be done, right? So
This was great. So, my next question again is for both of you. With as you both agree that we all have seen the whole evolution of technology and the usage of digital solutions. So, with this whole changing digital and IT landscape, what's your take when we talk about the whole cyber suraksha importance, and how would you define it in today's time? Why is it very important to talk about and work on the cyber security, cyber suraksha for our organizations, for nations, etc.? So maybe Ray, you, and then Amol.
Yeah, sure. I'll go through it. So I think Cyber Suraksha Campaign is more than that a catchy name. I think so. So it is navigating in this crazy cybersecurity world. The first thing that we should discuss is education. I think education is the first line of defense. By educating all the stakeholders, from individuals to the large organization, we ensure everyone understands the risk and knows how to protect themselves. So education, I would say, the first thing, and then the second would be leveraging on technology. So technology nowadays, with the latest advancement in cybersecurity, technology are there to detect and act on threats more effective. So we can leverage technology, but first and foremost, I would say education, and then comes the culture. So From my years of experience, I would say the cultures plays a very crucial aspect in fostering a cyber security culture uh, within the organization and with your stakeholders. The security is not just the technical issue; it's a mindset. So we aim to you know embed the security awareness into every aspect of the digital operation and making it a fundamental part of our daily routine. So I will emphasize on this one much, and because to get the ultimate goal, that to create an environment where security is very you know seamless and it is integrated into every part of the digital life. In today's world, it is uh, not enough to react to threats. We need to anticipate and prevent. So I think this is all what I would get from the Cyber Suraksha campaign.
Amol, I think the same question, I'll put it across to you as well.
See, from my perspective, it's all about how do I keep, my companies, the company I work for, and my personal digital assets safe, right? Professionally as well as personally, I think, we are working in a rapidly evolving and changing world, and like I mentioned even earlier, personally, if I keep it aside for a moment, right, and assuming that there is going to be change continually, new threats are going to emerge. So, what I need to really make sure of is I have some sort of a framework or definitions in place. For example, what are my top 10 important assets? I mean, it could be 15, 20 based on whatever business or vertical you are part of, right? And if they are compromised, for example, what is going to be my plan B? If that fails, what is going to be my plan C? When you are right, I mean, you can't just have plan B nowadays, right? You need to have a plan C and sometimes even a plan D. I mean, a highly regulated and sensitive industry, like for example, insurance, to which Sanket belongs, or even banking, need to have multiple plans in place today. So they have to make sure in case of something goes wrong, what is going to be my alternatives, right? And where should I go and start running my business? So there are three cornerstones: people, process, and technology, right? And you can't just emphasize on technology, because if the people in the organizations are not equipped or skilled enough to consume it and use it properly, then it's of no use. And same goes for even processes, right? I mean, I have seen, or actually, in my career, I have seen certain processes actually hampering down people's productivity. I mean, just to make better security controls, you can't obviously compromise on people's productivity or their work quality, right? And I have seen that suffer. We've seen that suffer. I'm sure even Sanket would have seen it in his career, right? So these things are very, very important, right? So the point is that you need to have sort of a framework which is obviously flexible enough for change, because like I said, we all work in an environment which is changing, right? So it should be flexible enough to change, but the basics and the tenants don't change around people, process, and technology. So yeah, that would be my take on it.
Fantastic. Sanket, according to that, with the whole remote working post the pandemic that we, as organizations have started adopting rapidly, it has become challenging for organizations to keep up to their cybersecurity strategies to secure the distributed, workforce effectively. So, what are your thoughts? How would you say that? What are the measures that you've been taking at your end?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll go through it. When this pandemic started, we never knew this will become a norm for the organizations, right? So for the organizations, what they are doing first is enhancing endpoint security. So since employees are working in various locations and often using personal devices, they have BYOD things and all. So ensuring endpoint is secure is definitely one of the crucial thing. Okay, and other thing is like I have seen companies investing in advanced like this antivirus softwares or intrusion detection systems to protect those systems like which belongs to employees mostly that connects to their network. So when connecting to network is considered, the companies are also adopting implementation of robust VPNs, the virtual private network. That is a secure channel, for data to travel between remote workers and the organization's network. It encrypts the sensitive information and protect it from potential, if there is any potential incident happens. The VPN can be useful. So companies are adopting that. So in addition to that, technical measures, there has been strong emphasis on user education and awareness. So organizations are conducting regular training sessions, and I have seen this. This is really gone up to the mark right now. From like onboarding training, now this is being done mandatorily every year with the track result and all, how employees are using those user training, uh, and how they are implementing in terms of reporting phishing email if they get through. Those those things are being tracked right now in organizations. I have seen like companies using multi-factor, even for the clients when we recommend. NFA is one of the standard that has come into practice right now after the pandemic. It has been mandatory right now. So for running multiple verifications such as password or code sent to their mobile devices, so MFA adds an extra layer of security. So now we have also learned about zero trust architecture, right? So this is also one of the things that I would like to say. After pandemic, when technology evolving, zero trust is mostly the organization going through uh, uh, right now. So which zero trust actually operates on the principle of like never automatically trusting any device or users, regardless of whether they are inside or outside the network perimeter. Um, so I would say like in a world where the office is anywhere, cybersecurity will also be like it should be everywhere right now.
True, that is correct. And with that, Amol, Sanket added, if you can also tell us how Veeam is helping address challenges and also, as part of the whole initiative of Cyber Suraksha, how Veeam is particularly helping organizations and CISOs.
Sure. But just wanted to start off with, one scary fact, right? That daily, you have, I mean, while I don't have the exact number, you have millions of threats or vulnerabilities which are being generated, right? Millions, right? So the point is that the attacker has to be right just once, and you have to be, you know, on the job 100% of the time, and you have to be right 100% of the time, right? So with that, I'll just start as to what Veeam is really doing in this space, right? uh, so when it comes to security, see, we are not saying that Veeam is actually going to replace any of your existing security controls. What we are really saying is that security, or basically data protection, is your last line of defense, right? So while you would have a lot of controls around perimeter, around your devices, network, application, you continue to have them, right? Because uh, for a good security posture, it takes entire village, and rightly so. I mean, an average company would have at least 25 odd tools to set those controls, and there is no denying or getting around it, right? But from data protection perspective, backup is your last line of defense. Now, how and where we are really trying to evolve and invest, right? So the first thing is, of course, the infrastructure, right? Because today you would have hybrid infrastructure. You would have some on-prem, you would have on cloud, you would have it on maybe a third-party provider. So I need to go, or the data protection software actually needs to go and sit in this varied environments and talk to this varied infrastructures. I mean, varied infrastructure in sense hypervisors, or it could be Kubernetes, like new infrastructure, or even physical assets, right? So the first thing is around protocols. So we have made sure that we use the latest and greatest from the protocol standpoint, and they are super secret. Like when we acquire the data, we make sure that it is encrypted in the latest and the best encryption methodologies, like AES 256-bit. Now I call all these like hygiene factors, right? These are given things, right? We have to do this, and they need to be continually evolved as you evolve the infrastructure on other side, the source side, that is. The second thing which we are also effectively doing is threat hunting. Now, while you would have a lot of tooling around to detect those threats, but even from the backup perspective, when you start a backup, I today have a capability to do threat hunting, in sense that I can inline try and detect certain anomalies which are specific from the backup perspective, right? For example, I can go ahead and detect if there is encryption, right? I can actually go and do something which we call as entropy analysis. So I actually look at various parameters and I rank them, and if the entropy analysis score is high, it means something has gone wrong. So that's something which which we have done and implemented as part of our solution. The other thing is that in enterprises, typically you would have, like I said earlier, even isolated environments, right? Environments which are network is isolated. Now, how do I continue to make sure that that environment is safe? So what we've done is, while we can do set of things while we backup, which is inline, we can also do set of things post the backup is done. So for these kind of setups, what I can do is I can automatically set up a mechanism, whereas every 15 days or 1 month, I mount the backups I have done for those isolated application or systems, mount it on the anti-malware software which you have in the house. So we integrate with most of the anti-malware, antivirus software, and we scan them, right, regularly to make sure that there are no threats. This is not to say that it can avert a zero-day threat, because zero-day by definition can't be recognized by an antivirus or an anti-malware software. But we have capability to do all this. And even if tomorrow there would be an attack, so how would you recover to a point or from a point in your backup which is clean enough, right? So we have also developed mechanism to integrate something which we call as Yara rules. Now, Yara rules are basically yet another recursive algorithm. I mean, if you go by the definition, but these are basically algorithms which search certain string, right? And people who are experts in security know how to write queries and search, right? So if you are attacked and if you want to really quickly search which is my cleanest point in the backup from which I can recover, I can actually integrate that Yara rules, search within my backup ecosystem and get to a point which is clean, mount that and do a clean recovery for it, right? But we don't stop here, right? So proactive threat hunting, post backups, I can do scanning, I can integrate Yara rules. And on top of that, I understand, in enterprises, you run an ecosystem, right? So it's not possible for recognize and identify. I've got a mechanism via which I can communicate it to the SIM and SOC. So I've built certain northbound APIs. So by northbound, I mean towards applications, right? Southbound means towards infrastructure. So I have built certain northbound via which I communicate to. It could be Palo Alto, it could be Sophos, or whatever you have within your ecosystem. I can go and tell them that, hey, I think something is wrong with this particular host. Have a look, right? And same is also true vice versa. If that is able to detect any kind of threat, it can also intimate me saying that, this machine looks to be compromised. Can you go ahead and secure the other backups from yesterday or day before yesterday, right? So that's the kind of layered model which we have bring it, because security has to be layered, right? It has to have multiple controls at various levels. So that's what Veeam brings to the table.
Thank you, Amol, for sharing with us on the initiatives and what how is Veeam really helping in this space. Sanket, I wanted to understand what are your recommendations for organizations, to build a proactive cybersecurity culture and ensure the continuous improvement in the security posture.
Sure, I'll happy to share some recommendations. So before that, today we can see the cost of attack is really low than the cost of defense. The cost of attack has become cheaper. Ransomware as a service kind of thing. So anyone can do attack nowadays. So where the defense cost is very high. So for that, organizations are suffering. So building a proactive cybersecurity culture is essential for any organizations aiming to stay ahead of these threats. And also implementing a strong incident response plan, I would recommend. So being proactive means being prepared. So developing a comprehensive incident response plan that outlines the steps that's to be taken in the event of a security breach would really help organizations to get ready. Then regularly test and update the plan to remain effective if there is any incident happens. So that would be the first thing. And then there has been really advanced security technologies that is evolving. We have tools that provides continuous monitoring like SIM solutions. We have threat detection. We have automated response, capabilities to utilize that, and technologies such as AI and machine learning. So AI has been in talk of town since many months right now. So organization can use it to identify unusual patterns, potential threats before they escalate. So additionally, I would again say multi-factor authentication and encryptions are crucial for protecting the sensitive data. So they can definitely list down what are the critical applications. They have like crown jewel, most of the organizations do, and have layered in controls or defense in fair to safeguard those applications. And lastly, I would promote the collaboration and communication that ensures the different departments work together to identify like potential vulnerabilities and share insights. So that is very important. So whenever there is a security discussions, and also all the other department heads should also be there to discuss on the potential vulnerability and share insights from their particular department. That encourages open communication and cybersecurity challenges and possibilities if there will be any solutions that can also come through. So in cybersecurity, staying proactive is not just an option, I would say. Okay, it's a necessity for ensuring a resilient and secure future. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sanket, for that. Amol, when discussing building the availability and the protection gap, how is Veeam helping businesses with its data protection strategy?
Sure. So I would say we have a pretty simple and efficient methodologies to identify, the gaps between availability and protection. Uh, we have tools which can go ahead and do health checks, discover gaps, or as simple as we have set of questions from security perspective, data protection perspective, as to whether you are following the best practices or whether there is a scope of improvement, right? And obviously we can design the solution to meet customers requirements. Not all customers need a bank like security posture. I mean, you don't need to have those many controls for every customer. So depending on the the risk appetite and other things, we can design the solution. See, Veeam is pretty unique from perspective of having their uh, backup strategy. I mean, backup and recovery as well as security strategy. So the way we have gone about building our products is always grounds up. As far as the platforms go, right? So Veeam started as a company who first protected VMware, workloads, right? So that's where we started. That was our starting point, and then we gradually added up different hypervisors like AHV, Hyper-V, Red Hat virtualization, and now host of open source hypervisors like Proxmox, Open Linux and stuff like that. But we didn't stop there. We also started evolving our products to protect the modern workloads which are lying on clouds, which are there on say for example a SaaS service like M365 or Salesforce, right? Or cloud native platforms like Kubernetes, right? But when we did that, we were very clear that we are going to build those solutions grounds up for that particular platform. So today we have got native platforms for cloud, whether it is Azure, Google or AWS, or if you are running some sort of a Kubernetes managed service like a EKS, AKS, or you're running it on premise with an OpenShift like solution. So these are all native solutions built scratch up using native APIs. Now that of course gives us a distinct advantage even from the security perspective, because then it is easier to integrate with the native platform security controls as well. So for example, AWS would have a certain controls, and it's easier for me to integrate it with them. For example, on prem, OpenShift has got a security cluster, right? So it's easier for me to integrate with that, my solution with that. So that's the approach which we have taken, and so far it's worked wonderfully well. In fact, today, as I look, one of our main solutions which a lot of our customers are demanding is M365 protection, right? So while earlier it was not identified as a big risk, but now everyone, even in India, have recognized that all the risks or all the attacks usually come via email, right? So that's a primary mechanism to deliver the attacks. So I mean, nothing to do with that per se, but people have in general identified that M365 needs to be protected, right? Because Microsoft is very clear on what they are going to do and what is customer supposed to do, because customer owns the data. While they own the M365 as a service, customer still owns the data, and data protection is customer's prerogative. So he needs to be very well protecting, right? Might as well protect it. So that's one solution which I've seen a lot of customers are now today adopting, because of course it's a primary communication channel. B, there are a lot of compliance and governance reasons also behind protecting M365 like solution, because it's just not your email, but it's also your OneDrive, it's your SharePoint, it's your Teams, right? So together you have whole lot of sensitive data to really protect and guard.
Very true. In fact, it's so crazy that an employee would get an email with the name of the CEO and either asking for funds or whatnot. So this is a constant problem.
I get WhatsApp messages from my CEO asking for Amazon workforce, right?
Yeah.
So we call it BEC, like business email compromise. And also there was an event that happened in Singapore or Hong Kong where the AI was used, to extort a very, very big amount of money. Yeah.
It's crazy. Okay. All right. So,
Sure.
Sanket, you also spoke about the importance of the awareness within the organizations to the employees, right? So it is very important to do training programs and awareness programs
Correct.
to mitigate the cybersecurity risk. Some of the initiatives that should be taken is something if you would like to suggest.
Yeah, sure. I always think that employee training and awareness plays a crucial role in mitigating cybersecurity risks from, for any organizations. If they invest well in employee training, that would be very fruitful. So, in today's interconnected and digital landscapes, employees are like the first line of defense, against cybersecurity threats. So many security breaches occur due to human error, as we spoke, such as falling victim to phishing scam, disclosing sensitive information. So the way educating employees over cybersecurity best practice is really vital for any organization. I think effective training process can be there, to ensure that employee understand about latest threats, how to recognize the suspicious activities, find suspicious emails, and how to report it following the security protocols. Then ultimately, I would say, like, with while technological solution are very essential, definitely, the human element remains very critical for cybersecurity defense. Right? So investing in employee training awareness, not only to mitigate risk but also to enhance the overall resilience of the organization against cyber threat, that is essential in current world. Yeah.
Great, fantastic. I think this has been a great conversation with you, Sangeet and Amol. Any last thoughts that you would like to add before we end our today's interview session?
Uh, so I
Uh,
would say, like, it is definitely a great conversation. We talk about many things into like recommendation for organizations and what is happening in terms of, like, technological advancement, and also all we need to know, like, investing in technology is definitely one of the major steps that all these organizations are doing. At the same time, as we spoke, uh, utilizing proper way of educating employees is crucial, and at that same time, leveraging current tools and like AI and all, it is also very essential. So I have seen, organizations where they hesitate to implement AI within the organization, and also there are always ways, if we see, like, we say, like, AI has all those things, like, which is not good. At the same time, you can implement proper control uh, within organization to safeguard your data and utilize the potential benefits that these new technology can benefit the organization. So yeah, that would be my last step. So
Thank you.
utilize technology and have proper education. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Must-haves, yes. Amol, any last thoughts that you'd like to add?
yeah, yeah. I'll just I know I'm repeating it a bit, but just to make my points absolutely clear. You know, like I said earlier, backup is the last line of defense. So make sure that you evaluate your existing solution, whether it's able to cater to demands of today. For example, make sure backups are recoverable or not. That's why we do backups, right? It's not just about meeting that SLA of 8 hours or 10 hours to backup, right? Can those be really recovered? Do you have a mechanism to check it? Can you do it automatically? Are you scanning your backups for any threat vectors? Do you have that ability today? Uh, can you restore, and this is absolutely critical, can you restore on alternate uh, infrastructure? If your primary is infected, there is no way that your will be stretched to months. Do you have that ability to recover and restore your backups on an alternate infrastructure? And by that mean, if you're running on-prem, can you recover them on cloud, for example, or any third-party provided cloud? Can you restore your backups on alternate infrastructure or hypervisor, right? Because this is absolutely mandatory. If you have an attack on your primary infrastructure, sanitization needs time, so your infrastructure is not going to be available for lot of time. It could be months as well, right? So you need that ability to restore your backups on an alternate infrastructure on which you can continue to run your show. That's what I would say. So
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining me today, Amol and Sanket, and doing this interaction with me. It was really great, and it was good to have you both on this
thank you.
dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kushbu. Have a great day.